I'm gonna talk about the Rainbow Warrior. I did this piece with Hilde, but I'm sad to say she's felt a little bit sick, so she stayed at home. So you only have me. Oh. I'm gonna talk about the ship, the initial bombing, the first denial after the bombing, the aftermath, and then I have a question for you guys. The ship itself is what it says from Greenpeace. There's a ship who has been used in the past a lot for coal blockades to stopping illegal timber producement from the Amazon. And right now it is retired. In the past it had been raided, and what I'm going to talk about today, bombed. The bombing. On the 10th of July 1985, Greenpeace was trying to go to a nuclear test facility of the French in the South Atlantic. And, yeah, with the Rainbow Warrior. But at the night before they departed, they just heard a loud crash, a lot of glass just broke, and they heard a roar of water. Then the second explosion came. It turns out that the French Secret Service agents went with scuba divers to the ship and attached 2 bombs to it to sabotage the ship. But in the sinking, one person drowned, called Fernando Pereira, a Dutch photographer who was on the boat. In the beginning, the French denied the accusations of the bombing. 2 days after the bombing, 2 agents even got caught in Auckland, but they said they were only spying on Greenpeace, they were not responsible for the bombing itself. But a few weeks later, a British newspaper found articles where the President of France authorized the bombing, so he was completely okay with state terrorism on Greenpeace. In the aftermath in New Zealand, who had the 2 agents, they pressed the French to make a trial of the 2 agents. They accepted it and they plead guilty to manslaughter and property damage, and they got only 10 years for it. In those 10 years, New Zealand and France made an agreement that the first 2 years are in a French military base on an island, and after those 2 years they could go back to France, but when they got back to France they were just let free by the French government, because, well, they were in cahoots with them. Also, the woman you see is Christine Cabon. It was a spy who went into Greenpeace, and she led all the information to the French, and she fled to Israel, so she could not get a trial, so she would be free. But also, one of the high officers of the operation, a little bit weird name, but what he was a frogman, maybe because of the divers. He just disappeared. There's no records of him after the bombing, just disappeared off the ground. And yeah, that's the end of the Rainbow Warrior, but does anybody have any idea what the Rainbow Warriors are? Anybody heard of something like that? Well, it is a Native American Cree saying, "When the world is sick and dying, the people will rise up like warriors of the rainbow."
Wow.
Now, if you have any questions for me, now's the time. No? What do you need? Oh, then, there's my presentation. Skip the sources. Thank you.
What's that?